So I'm excited today because I'm always celebrating a time when we can hear from more people than just me. Yay! So today we get to hear from more people than just me. I would like to, at this time, invite Ella Mae to come and join us. Oh, you can go ahead. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, Ella Mae. Ella Mae, you have a microphone right here. So I called Ella Mae last night or this morning so we could coordinate. So if you get a chance, we're both wearing wingtip shoes today. So we're the wingtip shoe duel today. Of course, her shoes are much cooler than mine. Right? Your shoes are always cooler than mine? I thought you were going to be nice today. So, Ella Mae, can you kind of take just a moment to introduce yourself to us today?
My name is Ella Mae. What else do we need to know?
Tell us, Ella Mae, what makes it such that you're up here with me today? How did you get up here?
Well, the parable of the lost coin has been kind of nibbling around the edges of my brain for a while. And so I wanted to just discuss and explore that parable a little more deeply. I feel like it's not as well discussed as the two parables on the opposite sides of it. And so I just wanted to look into that a little bit deeper.
Very cool. So the parable of the lost coin is found in the book of Luke. It's in the 15th chapter. And what Ella Mae just said is there are two parables that surround it. There is the parable of the 99 sheep and the one that gets lost. And then the parable of the prodigal son. But the one you want to check out is right there in the middle of it.
Yes, the parable of the lost coin and the searching.
Okay, very cool. So I still want to know a little bit about you. Can you tell us something that that most of us don't know about you?
I was born on Friday the 13th, which probably several people here know because I talk about that a lot. I'm really excited that next year I get to turn 39 on March 13th because 3 times 13 is 39, and a lot of you know that I'm really, really into numbers. So to me this is an important birthday for me, especially since it actually falls on a Friday next year. Some of you know about my passions for art and music. I'm really into animation and video game art, but a lot of the time also art is a way for me to express myself to God, and also a lot of the time music I find to be a way for God to express himself to me.
Beautiful. I'm wondering, do you think we might be able to hear a little piece of your art before we leave today?
It's a strong possibility.
So we may be able to hear some music before we leave today. So I'm super excited because any chance I get to hear from somebody else, I am super excited to always hear different points of view and different thoughts. This particular text is one of my favorites. So you've already heard me talk some about it, and I am curious to hear other heads about it. Why does the one about lost coin interest you?
One thing that has kind of stood out to me is that the 1 in 10, that is what we were asked to return in tithe. Also, there are different ratios between the 99 and 1 missing, that's 1%. Then there's the 10% of the 1 coin missing out of 10, and then the 50% out of the 1 son lost out of 2 sons. And I feel like just the ratio is something that I'd kind of like to explore in the 99 coins, and also the different character in the 99 coins where we have a shepherd And that shepherd is expressed as being a man, the father, who naturally is a man, and a woman searching for that lost coin.
Okay, so we're going to have a conversation about percentages and a conversation about genders. Ooh, very relevant. And for you, Veronica, can you leave us alone today? And let us do the sermon up here. For those of you that are not aware, we are nothing but family and love here, so. Okay, so can you introduce this text? I mean, the very beginning of it.
So at the very beginning of Luke chapter 15, it talks about how it starts out with tax collectors and sinners were gathering around Jesus, and the teachers and the Pharisees were kind of coming in and they were muttering, why are you hanging out with these tax collectors and sinners? What's wrong with you? Why do you let these people into your life?
So most of the scenes of the New Testament, we have really a group of people that are looking to hear from Jesus, and then you have another group of people that are holier than Jesus. And in this case, they're Republicans. Not Republicans, but what are they?
They are publicans.
Oh, publicans. Not but publicans. When I said that, it sounded funny. I was like, there are publicans and there are tax collectors. Are they the good or the bad?
These are the bad people.
And, the bad people. And then it says sinners. So we have certainly a group of bad people, and then we have the holy people. They are known as the
teachers and the Pharisees.
So we have holy people and we have not holy people. And you guys can decide on what side of that fence you want to live on. But the holy people are saying, what's he doing with these no good people? And Jesus says, I hear you. Let me tell you a story. Then he says in verse 4, suppose you were a shepherd. Does that mean anything when he says to them, suppose you're a shepherd?
Suppose you are a working class man, somebody who deals with dirty animals and probably smells bad pretty much all of the time.
So what's clever about that is, to the very holy of holy people, he says, I hear you talking about me mixing with dirty, sinful people. But let's just picture for a moment, suppose you're a dirty, sinful person. A person that takes care of sheep, that does not have the ability to observe the Sabbath very well because you're always working with dirty animals. And you work hard, and you do minimum wage, and you're one of the
graduates. If you get paid at
graduates.
all, maybe you get minimum wage.
Good one, if you get paid at all. So then he says that, and then he tells a story that you're very familiar with. Suppose you have 100, one gets lost, 99 are here. Can you tell us what the shepherd does when one gets lost?
So the shepherd, leaving the 99 sheep that have stayed there with him, goes wandering out into the wilderness to find the one sheep that maybe stopped for a drink, maybe decided to munch on some berries by the side of the road, but for some reason, that one is not with the other 99.
So lambs eat berries?
I'm not sure if they eat berries, but it was doing what it did and got separated.
Yeah, if it was me, I'd probably just get lost. I'm good at getting lost. Would you come look for me?
Maybe. I would think about it very hard.
I don't want to hear your sermon anymore. It's love. This is what love looks like. Oh, I'm sorry. So certainly what we have now is we have a family of 100 and a shepherd that goes to look for one that is lost. Why would a shepherd not just cut his losses and take care of the 99? Why would he leave the 99 and go look after one?
Well, he knows that he has a flock of 100, or at least a flock that is supposed to be 100. So his flock is incomplete when he doesn't have that one sheep. He doesn't have his whole family there with him. Shepherds are very close to their animals. They recognize the shepherd's voice. It's important to this shepherd that all of his sheep family is with him and safe.
So I want you guys to catch the thing here. Family and wholeness is important. The second parable is the woman with coins, but we want to skip there and come back to it. We're going to jump over to the last parable, that's the father with the 2 sons. Can you give us broad stroke outlines of that?
So a man has 2 sons, and the younger of the 2 sons basically comes up to him and says, "Dad, you're just not dying fast enough. Give me my money, and I am going to go out into the world and see what I can see."
Now that's disrespectful. See, my comment was not disrespectful. So young people need to be respectful and No, he says with that, I like my inheritance. In other words, can you die a little quicker? Just give me my money so I can go have fun now. And what happens to the young son?
So the father actually does split up the inheritance so that the younger son can take his money and go off and have fun in the world, which is what the young son does. He wastes his money on partying and possibly gambling, possibly entertaining women. It doesn't say explicitly like everything that this young son is doing, but his money runs out, and so he starts taking menial jobs to try to support himself. And one day, as he is feeding pigs, another task that he's taken on to be able to sustain himself, he recognizes, I can chill here and eat this food with these pigs, or I can go and recognize my father is going to take me back in. So he realizes that the better thing to do is to return to his loving father and see what he can get from that.
So follow this now. You have super bad people, like sinners and tax collectors and publicans. You have super good people like holy teachers of the law and Pharisees. And the Pharisees are saying, what is Jesus doing hanging out with these grubby people? And Jesus says, well, let me tell you holy people a story. Suppose you were a shepherd. And they're like, boo, I'm not one of them. Then he says, well, suppose you're a father with 2 sons and one of them hates you and wishes you died. They're like, we're really not one of them. And now we're going to scroll back to the story that we'd like to talk more about. Yes?
Yes, so there is a woman and she has 10 coins and one of them has gotten lost.
Does she do anything about that?
She lights a lamp, which she has to use lamp oil for that. So apparently, it's not that she's broke or that she really has to have this coin. She's spending the lamp oil to look for the 1 coin, and then she takes the time to sweep her house. How many of you like to sweep? Okay, so by the giant show of hands, I see that we all love sweeping. So this must have been very fun for this woman, sweeping her house. Okay, so she's sweeping the house, she's lighting the lamp, she's working hard to get back this missing coin. She has a set of 10 coins. It doesn't say that they're collector's coins, it's just 10 silver coins. 1 is missing. It didn't get up and walk out of the house. She knows this coin is somewhere in my house. So it is lost, but it has not left her. And so she's searching within her house, going through every nook and cranny in that house to find this missing coin.
Let's talk a little bit about looking. We were talking earlier, you shared a story about looking with me. Can you share it with the rest of us?
So I was pet sitting for some of my friends, I believe it was earlier this year. And liking to carve things and play with knives, I did manage to cut myself. And so I needed a Band-Aid. And I did not know where she had a first aid kit in her house. She and her husband were on vacation. I didn't want to bother them, calling them, hey, where's a Band-Aid? So I decided I will look for the first aid kit and just find it myself. This was a 4,000 square foot house with 3 floors. And I was going through the house, opening every cupboard, every closet, digging through things, trying to find a Band-Aid or a first aid kit. I'm very comfortable in this house, and I knew it really wouldn't bother them if I was literally crawling under the beds and into crawl spaces and all kinds of different places in the house. And I searched literally more than half of the house before I finally came across the first aid kit. And I was very, very happy, and I was able to, bandage up my finger and stop having to, wrap it in a paper towel and squeeze it to try to not drip blood everywhere that I was searching. Now, I was over at her house again just a couple days ago for Thanksgiving, and while we were cooking, one of our other friends managed to cut her hand, and she just turned to her and she's like, "Where can I find a Band-Aid?" And my friend says, "Oh, there are Band-Aids right on the ledge above the shoe bench." And I'm thinking, I sit next to that ledge every time I come into this house and take off my shoes. Had I known that there were Band-Aids sitting right on that ledge, I could have just gone straight there and just picked up a Band-Aid, bandaged my finger. But I did take the time to search for that Band-Aid all throughout this house, because for me at that moment, having that Band-Aid and making my hand whole again was very important to me.
Having her hand whole again was super important. She looked over the whole house. That takes a lot of work. And coming back to the woman over here that was looking inside the house, I would like to give you a small picture. In those houses, though they weren't large, they were not well lit, right? They couldn't just run down to IKEA and grab a lamp. It just worked that out. She could break out a flashlight. The windows were not like windows because they didn't have glass. What they did have was a small slit near the ceiling to let light in. And so if you wanted more light, you'd have to open the door. And when you open the door to let more light in, the way to sweep would be a way to sweep a dusty floor, because it's a dirt floor. And if it wasn't a dirt floor, it was a stone floor. And if it was a stone floor, it was still dirty. Which means every time you swept, poof, smoke. Now, you had a dusty floor, 4,000 square foot house, or what?
I had a carpeted floor, but actually I think the carpet had been replaced shortly before I was pet sitting, so I basically had new carpet.
Oh, nice. So watch this now. She sweeps, it goes puff. She's working. She lights candles. She expends energy, not only energy, but resources. Cool? Can you tell us anything else about this story that sticks out to you?
Well, there's the fact that she had lost 1 out of 10 of her coins, which is the same amount that we're asked to return in tithe. So it's like, here's something that we return, and it was also what she had lost. Kind of like, God doesn't necessarily lose his money, but it gives him a value when we return that to him. And for that to be returned to her, added value for her.
I really like that idea, right? We make sure that what we can do and return to God, that we return to God. Watch this now. Were there any differences in the coins?
It doesn't express any difference in the coins. It says that there were 10 silver coins, so it seems as though the coins were all the same.
And the coins all looked the same, shaped the same, sounded the same. They all said the same things. They said things like, "Happy Sabbath." They all said things like, "It's time for worship, ready to stand." So this is a set of coins that needed to be whole. Do you have a set of anything?
I have actually several sets of rainbow shot glasses. I collect rainbow colored shot glasses, and I like finding them in different interesting shapes. And one of my sets of shot glasses, which is literally the ugliest set that I have, they're octagonal shot glasses and they're awkward looking. But shortly after I moved into my current apartment, I dropped the green one and it broke. And I felt pretty upset that this set was incomplete. And so quite often when I'm shopping, especially at places like Ross and Marshalls and TJ Maxx, I go over all the shot glasses, because these are the places where I usually find these interesting rainbow colored shot glasses. But I have not been able to find another set of these ugly octagonal shot glasses. They literally are the ugly shot glasses I have. But I want my set to be complete, so I've been looking for some time. And I moved into my current apartment almost 6 years ago, and I dropped the shot glass shortly after I moved in, so I've been looking for more than 5 years for these ugly shot glasses because I want my set to be whole.
I'm laughing at ugly shot glasses, wanting the set to be whole.
They're ugly shot glasses.
But you want it because?
Because it's part of the set. I mean, they all come in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And now this set is missing its green shot glass, and it needs it. You don't see a rainbow that's red, orange, yellow, blue, purple.
Okay, granted. By the end of the story, she finds her coin, and then what happens?
She goes out and she calls her friends and her neighbors, and they rejoice together. They celebrate. I lost my coin, and now I have found what was lost to me.
And then in verse 10, verse 9, she finds her coin. Verse 10, it says something really special. It says, just like in heaven, when one sinner is lost, there is joy in the presence of angels. Today we've been talking about family, keeping sets together. We've been talking about hard work to keep those sets together. We've also talked about a sheep that left, a son that left, but a coin that never left, but was lost. Not everything lost has left. I would like for you to share some of your artistry with us. And are you up for playing a song for us?
I think so.
Okay.
Now, I haven't played this song for a while, so it might take me a moment to remember how to play it. It's not noted anywhere, it's just something that I've stored in my head.
Can I tell the people a little bit about your song as you're getting ready? So some things mean more to me than other things. And certainly family means a lot to me. So as I asked Ella Mae if she would play something for us, she wanted to play something for you that means a lot to her. I asked her if she could tell me more about it. She just said, no, I can't. And then I said, well, can you tell just me? And she goes, I'll tell you. And then I asked her permission to tell you. And she said, okay. This piece of music she's going to play for you is the last thing she played for her mom. Last thing she played for her mom. as Ella Mae continues to play, when we discuss this story, she did want you to know that there was no real value in the coin except that it was missing. And that's exactly what God does. He just looks for the missing. The first one where the sheep left, it left. Shepherd wasn't found it. God wasn't found it. The third one, the father's son left and he came back. But the coin never left. The coin was just lost somewhere in the dust. And that's a big deal because many of us want to go outside and find lots of people. But I'm not. Today, I don't want to look for other people. I'll look for our people. Your family, my family. And God isn't always found in just a shepherd, just a father. Sometimes God is found in the woman.
Amen.
Because this woman said this, I will look for my missing, and when I do, celebrate with me. And Scripture says, the same way in heaven, when one sinner repents, then joy is found in the presence of angels. Meaning the Father is celebrating, not just the angels. It's a good thing to know that the gender of masculine is not only found in God, but the gender feminine is found in God. God cares for you more than just a man. Has the love of a mother, the strength of a woman, the diligence to search, the resources to do that search, and all of us have memories of them. I want you to know your worth today. Your worth is found in that our family is whole. One of you are lost, then it's all of our job to look for the lost. Especially in this house. As we close up today, Ella Mae is going to close, but just have a word of prayer with you. Yes. Father, thank you for this opportunity to be here today. Lord, you have spoken to your servant, Ella Mae, and she has shared with us. And now, dear God, continue to bless our families as we continue to worship you. Wherever someone is missing, let us work hard, 4,000 square feet or more, to bring our coins back into this set. Thank you, dear Lord, for being our God. In Jesus' name, amen.